Hi, everyone. I'm Kim Jervis. I'm the director for Science Olympiad here in North Carolina. And I just want to take a couple minutes today to do an overview and explain what it's going to look like to be in a Division A Science Olympiad team this year and a tournament. So I'm going to share my screen and go over this slide deck with you. All right, so what's the Division A tournament going to look like this year? We are going to run what's called a satellite system. It's kind of a hybrid model. We will want students to be at school on their competition day, being monitored by teachers and volunteers, whatever you're allowed to have in your buildings. They're going to be competing against other students in their regions, and we'll be awarding medals and trophies as we always do in our tournaments. Every event gets a medal, set of medals to the top couple of teams, and then those scores go towards team trophies. But we will want the students in the building being monitored by a coach on the day of the tournament. Almost all the events are going to be run on a platform called Nearpod. It's very similar to ones that if your students are not using Nearpod, they're using something like it in the classroom. They're doing Kahoots, they're doing Brain Pops, they're doing some other gaming systems in education. That's what it's going to be. This is a slide that just shows a example question from last year. And then they'll click the answers, they'll work together with a teammate, and they'll submit one test for everybody, for their team. Right. Some events are going to require that they log into video conferencing software. That could be Zoom, that could be Google Hangouts, that could be WebEx. It just depends. It could be Teams, Microsoft Teams, whatever your district is using. We're going to meet the students where they are with this stuff, and we'll have some different platforms available in order to do this. And we'll review which events are going to be like that in just a moment. And then we are going to have some construction events. These are the ones we've had to cancel last year almost everywhere in the state, and we don't want to do that this year, but they really have to be tested in person. We can't have you at home shooting bottle rockets. Not only do many of you not have the launchers for that, it's not safe. We tried to get some videos of some of this stuff with the big kids last year. It did not work. So we're going to have a kind of a drive-through appointment-based system. Now, this will look different in some different tournaments across the state, and your regional director and the tournament that you're competing in will share exactly how it's going to look. But for the most part, your test will happen on a Saturday, all these Nearpod tests, but the day that you come and shoot the rockets and test your bridge and shoot and launch your catapult, those are going to happen on a different day, most likely. And you'll schedule an appointment. You and your teammate, someone needs to drive the kids to the school. We'll check them in. We'll have them go in, shoot their rockets, test their bridges, whatever event it is that they're competing in, and then they'll be able to leave. So we'll keep the numbers very low. We'll be able to social distance, and we should be able to do that across the state. In some places, you may be allowed to congregate, and that'll be great. You can all get together in the gym in whatever fashion your district will allow, and you can compete kind of as normal if you've done Science Olympiad before. If not, then you'll jump in and do what is normal in Science Olympiad and have everyone compete in these events. And in some districts, you may get a personal visit from the regional director or other event leaders who go to the schools and test these events where you are instead. So we're going to meet the kids where we can this year. What's important to us is that we're able to do the build events. That's a big part of Science Olympiad. The engineering process is a big piece of what we do and what we love. So we don't want to cut that again this year. All right, we are going to run this full slate of events, and this schedule is up online. While the timing may change to this, the blocks are going to stay the same. So things like Chew the Fat and Ecology Experts and Newton's Notions are all going to be tests that are run through that Nearpod platform. That Nearpod does not require a subscription. All we need is for students to enter the codes that we will give them. That enters them in our class. They tell us who they are, and then we can record their scores. Things like Describe It, Build It, as we put on here. That's going to be where we'll have someone monitoring the class, and we'll have all the writers or all the describers in front of their computer using the picture on the screen to write out their directions on paper. Then we will put the model away. then we'll have the builders come and build. They'll take a picture, and you as the coach will help them upload both the directions that they wrote and the picture of the final model. It's nice to have the builders stay on in whether it's a Zoom, again, it could be Zoom, it could be Hangout, it could be any of those media platforms, because we can give time updates, which is nice, which is the thing you lose in this live environment. And when you're not all in the room at the same time with a proctor saying, okay, you've got 10 minutes left, you know, and that kind of thing. So we will keep the builders around for this part, but we won't need their cameras on. Science password, we will need their cameras on. This worked really well last year. We had one team in front of their computers. We had 2 judges in the room so they could proctor as it went. One person stood in front of the screen. We had a big PowerPoint slide that said the word. Last year it was charades, so they acted it out. This year it'll be password, so they're giving verbal clues. And then their team either guesses or they pass, and the next kid quickly moves in front of the computer. The other 2 are behind it, and that way the person who's knows the word is seeing it. The other 2 are not, and a coach is just there helping to make sure that rotation can happen. Super Sleuth is going to be a paper test. We're going to try really hard to get you the actual test with chemicals. These chemicals are, kitchen chemicals. So we feel good that those of you in the schools can monitor that situation and have them take that test. Super Sleuth is a hard one to do online. We did it last year, but it's not nearly as fun as being able to test powders. So this will be something where we'll get the coaches some directions. We'll probably have some sort of drop-off spot around the region where you're competing, so that there'll be a time for you to come and pick up supplies for your students. Code Busters is going to be the same way. We have an online platform for Code Busters, but it's really kind of above where we want the elementary school kids to have to operate. So we will provide the paper test, and you as the coach will administer the test and then probably scan it to us so that we can grade it. We'll come back to you with specifics on that. And then 3, 2, 1 blast off, Bridgeroni, duct tape challenge, marshmallow catapult, STEM design challenge are all going to be things that we will probably try and do in person. Duct tape challenge and marshmallow catapult we could do online if we had to, with a live camera. Someone's holding the camera or that has the computer running, and we could judge it. We're probably going to try not to do that. We're probably going to try and set up a place where you can do these events together. So the only thing you'll have to do is coordinate with your partner as to what time they can be there that day. Your entire team won't come to those drive-throughs. It'll just be the students who are participating in these events. So, and then we'll have an online award ceremony. This worked out pretty well last year for a lot of people. They did viewing parties if they could. We mail out the medals and the trophies, and we do the entire award ceremony out on and post it on YouTube where everyone can see it. So that's what it's going to look like this year. Overall, it's not perfect, and we know that. We hope that it is something that your kids can get excited about, and you can get excited about as we move back into doing things in person in groups again. One of the best resources for you this year is going to be BiteSize Science Olympiad. So this will start October 1st. There's a page under resources that's at the top link. It says BiteSize SO, and each month we're going to kind of dive deep into 2 of the topics for this year. So for October, it'll be landformers and backyard biologists. We're developing lesson plans for you, finding links. We've created an intro video. There's a social media challenge every month. So if it's something that you as a team want to do, or some of your students on the team want to do it, whatever it is, it'll be a little different each month. You can post those pictures for the students on Twitter, on Facebook, on Instagram, any of the social media channels that we have, and we'll look at all those submissions and we'll pick winners each month. There'll be prize packs that get mailed out. So it's a great way to engage your students. It doesn't have to be a Science Olympiad student. It could be your whole class. Anyone who just is ready for a little bit extra to help them get ready and maybe be recognized for that. And there's also, most importantly, to those of you who are registered coaches, once you've registered and paid for your team, then you'll start to get the codes to actual practice tests. So that's the rest of it's going to be free online. You'll be able to access those resources at any time, but we will lock the tests so that only registered teams have access to that. So it's an extra benefit for you to the students. We want them to be very comfortable with the Nearpod platform. So we don't want that to be something that holds them back. So these tests will all happen on that Nearpod platform so that they know what it's going to look like and they know what to expect, and they can move past that piece and be ready to show us what they've learned about all these different topics this year. We have a resource page for every one of these events. We're working on building those out. We've got lots of people helping us reconnect some links to some things that we had to transition a website, and not everything transitioned the way we wanted it to. So we're still working through that right now, but we will have extra information for you this year. The regional directors are working hard to make this as successful as they can. And we hope to see you in the spring, at least virtually, at one of our tournaments. Good luck.